Today we got this Ferris F35 and guy needs it back real quick. Gotta cut grass, so the belt came off and his fan, his cooling fan, he's very concerned about, is down here just rattling around, along with the pulley, just a mess down there. So we got some spare parts right there. We got fresh new parts. Part number right down there is right there. You can pause it. And that comes in a kit. Very common stuff that goes bad. I see someone need the mowers though with these hydro fans broke. The guys just run them anyway. I told the guy and he's like, I don't want it fixed. Okay, good for you. So let's do it. And when it comes down to, okay, you got mounting bolts here. And they have carriage bolts, so you don't have to hold the back side of them. So there's square holes on the back side of this frame. You got to take those out. Those are 14mm fit on there. Great. You got these two mounting bolts, transmission to the frame right here. Those are 13mm. Then you got two mounting bolts on the back. Oh yeah, and it just makes life a whole lot easier. Go ahead and take this, take the tire off, get it on jack stands. And I had the extra jack underneath there just for some extra support because I got these jack stands offset. This one's more to the back. That one's more to the front, so I have more access to the drop in the gearbox, because that's what we're doing right now. I can't get access really to the doing the pulley, and I think it's just going to be quicker to do it this way. And then you got to disconnect this link, all right? And you have your two rear transmission guards, mounting bolts right here for the transmission guard, or whatever this is. That's what I call it. And you have another arm right here that goes on this actuator arm, just with a pin. That's all that goes in there. Just a little pinhole right there in that link right there. So just take that out. That pulls out easy, and that is the only thing really holding on to this. Now I got this other little bottle jack. I'm getting positioned underneath the transmission here, so when I take these bolts out, the weight of it will be supported on this. And I might get a piece of wood under here just to make it a little more stable. And that's where I'm at with it right now. When I get set up to drop it, I'll turn it back on. Okay, right in here for your little transmission, your gearbox relief valve there, bypass valve. That's going to drop down, and you want to make sure when you're putting it back up, it makes it through this slot. And it looks like there's a washer underneath there that looks kind of loose, like it's not really attached. It's just kind of placed there, so make sure not to lose that. Then we also have the hydraulic hose line, and I'll probably just bust off this zip tie, so it's got a little extra room to drop down. Hopefully it can drop down enough with this little slack in the hydro line, enough for me to just get access to get my hands on the transmission pulley area, gearbox. Okay, I got that plate off and the bolts stayed in place. That's nice. They will push back up on their own, but they're kind of like stuck in place. And what happens is you lower this down, you lower this whole thing down from here, bring it down and move it forward, and it'll come off those forward bolts. And now we have access to the transmission here, and I do believe the only thing holding that on is right there. So let's just get this jack in place in a good kind of center mass spot here and get it jacked back up to support the weight, and drop it down maybe just enough. Sorry about the camera. Just enough to get access to that pulley area, so we can get that stuff off, get it swapped out pretty quick, hopefully. Oh, I missed these. We got two more kind of transmission to frame bolts. One here on the back, and there's another one on the front, just like this. Get those off. Those look like a 13 as well. Okay, I was able to drop this down. Basically all that's holding it up is the hydraulic line right there. Not too much pressure on it. And then the bottle jack. Okay, so we got it disconnected from the front mount here. the rear mount right here that goes through the transmission body right there on the back, and then there on the front. And we got these two on the sides on the frame. I got a long extension down there, reaching down to grab that nut on top of the pulley and fan assembly. And I found that a 15/16 shaft underneath the pulley right there is a 15/16 wrench. Got it jammed up in there, kind of up against a PTO nut, crankshaft nut, and got it to turn pretty good. So loosened it up. You can see my socket on top of there. I got that loose. Got that nut loose. Gonna take it off. So that's that. All right, here is the after parts. We got the fan and whatever this thing's called. So it's pressed down over the transmission shaft. And I'm gonna put a little PV blaster. Well, I don't use PV, I use this coil stuff. It's pretty good. And I'm gonna get some of that on there. As you can see on that, oh, let me get this focused here. You see on that right there, how that, all those little star things, they're just totally filed down. That's what it should look like. And that's what that one looks like. So that's gotta come off. I was hoping to get away with not having to change that, but that's gotta come off too. And might have to drop this all the way down as far as it'll go, lay it on something without too much pressure on that hydraulic line to maybe have to get a puller on it to pop that off. But right now we'll just get a little Wonder Juice on here and take a little coffee break, let that soak up. But you can see this pulley, check out the inside diameter here. That's what happened. Boy, it just got really, the guy put on a belt last week and maybe something got screwed up. Maybe a stick got up in there, but yeah, this thing was gone. Still got fresh metal shavings going all around that, and that's what was just rubbing the heck out of this one right here. So this got to come off for sure. Hopefully it'll come off easy. Cross your fingers on that one. But yeah, all this stuff's getting replaced, and the tangs on this thing are all bent up. They're all whacked and bent, distorted. These are nice and fresh. So we'll get this thing on, get it all back together. I also noticed on here, on this tensioner arm, the washer that's on here is just tapping right into that. You can see the little notch it's making. It's like this washer is way too big, and it's interfering with the movement and the tension on this on these hydro gear belts. So probably going to remove this big ass washer, try to find something smaller that'll clear the casing on this hydro here. That's definitely not right. It's way too big. Okay, so I replaced my bottle jack with the floor jack, so I can get it down as low as it can go, really, without putting too much strain on the hydraulic line. I don't like taking those hydraulic lines off. I could maybe come up here and loosen up this. There's not a lot of pressure on it, so that's good. I could maybe loosen up the mounting bolts for the reservoir, but it's almost like you got to take the line off. I really don't want to break these lines. It's just gonna end up having more leaks, or have to replace the line fully and do all the whole flush and stuff. So I'm just not gonna tap into the hydraulics of this thing and just try to get this off. I got enough room now to kind of get a puller up here on top of this thing. I'm still letting that, let's see, that thing feels like it might just slide off. I might get lucky on that. Let me make a cup of coffee and let my mind brainstorm on this for a while. Hopefully that'll just come right off. Let's see. Let's grab something to do that. What do we got here? I just got these big long needle nose pliers, Yeah, my camera stand broke, guys. Just bear with me. Oh my gosh, it's going to be a good day. Look at that. All right, it's coming right off. Bang. I don't see any washers or anything underneath that. Look at that. No puller needed. That's just beautiful. Good, good, good. Okay, we'll get this other new one on here, and we should be good to go. And just put everything back together, reverse it. And so this is the thing that's got the flat on it. It's 15/16. Hard to get to when this thing is up underneath the deck like that. But I had to drop it down a little bit. There might be an easier way to do this. I don't know of one. But if you do, leave a comment down there. Take a little break. Okay, we got the new spline spindle deal on there. Get rid of this old stripped out one. So it's the splined spindle. Then goes the fan on top of that. Get it in the notches underneath there real good. Little black tangs on the fan. And then the pulley. And then you got the little washer and a new lock nut with it. We'll get a 15/16 on here to hold it in place. And I got my extension going all the way up there to my impact. Gonna make sure this is all in line and tighten her up. Okay, got everything back together and belt on the pulley there. I'm gonna reach up here and make sure that I got this on anything above that. It's going, okay. Gotta get this belt above here. It's kind of wrapped up underneath the pulley. I don't know if you can see that. Between now, I shoved a wheel nose up in the eye bolt on the inside, and this is a 1/2 inch adjustment nut down in here. Now I'm gonna go leftsy-loosey on this one and take the give that a lot of slack for the tension spring. When I put this all back together, it won't be fighting me. And then when I get it all set up, come back down here, tighten things up, get that belt all tight on there. Just making sure the belt is routed properly around the pulleys. That should be enough. About a 1/4 inch or so, maybe 1/2 inch. Backed it off. Let's get down here. So I'm going to jack this back up and carefully making sure that when I putting it back up there that these fan blades aren't hitting the back of this of the frame right here, because it'll make contact. So I gotta kind of bring it forward that way and up, and then kind of bring it back again to clear the fan blades. Just be careful with that, and we should be good to go here in a little bit. I'm gonna do that. Okay, so I got this kind of teetered now. Got the floor jack on the back of it and the bottle jack up by the axle here housing, and making sure as I'm bringing that up that I'm not smashing this hydro release lever. I'm gonna get it back up into that slot as I'm bringing it up. Just be careful with that. And I got this clearing the frame. I got the belt routed around the crankshaft pulley up there, first thing underneath the engine. And so all the belts are around their respective pulleys. So just getting this in place, back up, getting it back and up. I'll start bringing the floor jack up, kind of level it off. Okay, so yeah, I got this, just got the bottle jack here, bringing it up, starting to line it up with the holes. Transmission's not too crazy heavy. The gearbox So able to kind of manipulate it around as I need to get this rear mounting bolt and then the front back in alignment. See how that front one's going? It's close, and I can just push that up a little bit, push that bolt up to get it. Sorry, camera stand just so I can start aligning that up with that hole right there. So I have to just bring it back and up, kind of level it out, lowering this, raising this, whatever you got to do to get all the holes aligned, put all the fasteners back in, and just put it back together in reverse. Yeah, so I got it up on there, and then I realized that release lever wasn't through the hole. I had it through there, and then it came out. So shoved it back up in there, and I just got that vice grip up there holding it in place while I raise it back up to and align the holes for the mounting bolts. Okay, this helps out a little. I was able to finagle it up into place and get these bolts in there. I got the rear mount bolt through there, and they're not carriage bolts. I don't think they are. The forward one is, I think for sure, not a carriage bolt, so I actually got to get a wrench on that thing, unfortunately. But here are the focus on this. Okay, so here's where the tensioner spring attaches to. You got the bolt that goes right through the middle there. You can see up here. Okay, so there's the spring, and then underneath that spring eye hole is the, hopefully this is focusing okay and you can see it. So there's the spring eye hole, and then under there is the small cylinder. It's like a little steel spacer cylinder that spring, the eye hole of the spring goes around. And it's kind of funky to put it all back together because it's the spring goes over the bolt, and then that spacer cylinder fits up underneath the spring eye hole. Then there's another kind of thick spacer that goes underneath the big washer there. On this side of it, there's another spacer cylinder, and then the washer. And that washer was okay. I reused that washer. It was just that it was so out of adjustment. The belt had come off, and it was kind of stuck in a position. It looked like it was hitting up against the transmission body, and it was a little bit, but now that everything's back on the pulleys properly, making sure everything is, you know, back, that looks like a good arrangement there, and it's not going to be too close to the transmission body now. You can kind of see that, how far away it's going to be. And I'm starting to put tension back on the tensioner eye bolt from the back side. It's a pain to get to from the top. You can only really fit one arm in there unless you take that deck cover right there completely off. I'd just rather not do that. So I'm just kind of working at it from the ground here with it jacked up. So I'll just probably stick this right up in here to keep it from spinning, and then screw on that nut real tight until it gets a proper tension on the drive belt. And then there's a lock nut here to go ahead and run it down onto the frame to lock it in position. And those are 1/2-inch fasteners. Okay, and I just now noticed as I was looking at the belt alignment on the pulleys that this fan is not even connected to the little spindle thing anymore. It's not supposed to be spinning like that. That was nice and tight in place. It's going to spin with the spindle. This one has just been stripped like that. Yeah, but it's still on there. I mean, the pulley's on securely, but the fan is kind of stripped. Okay, just about all together. We got the guard, the bottom guard for the gearbox on. Here's the 2 front mounting bolts and the big black plate that goes down underneath. to the back. 14 millimeters fit on that pretty good. Got the 2 mounting bolts here on the body of the transmission. You got the front mounting bolt, and then the rear right there. Head of that bolt back in there. Then we got the link back on here, and the link back on right there with the cotter pin in it. And we got the tension down real good with the lock nut up against the frame. And that's what that looks like, that much excess stud sticking out there for the eye bolt. So throwing the tire back on and give it a spin, make sure everything's going good. Did also notice that this cover is off, so stuff can get down in here and probably ruin that fan again really quick. So that's probably something that needs to get on there. It is on the other side, but that fan has been destroyed and it's not working, but it does have the cover on this one. All right, let me help you fix your power equipment problems. Subscribe and check out my playlists to save you a lot of money.